Following on from the successful Russian Mir space station program, and as part of the joint agreement, NASA and the Russian Space Agency began construction of the International Space Station. Rapidly, other nations became involved, including Japan, Canada, the European Space Agency, Brazil, and the Italian Space Agency outside the European grouping. Even China has shown an interest in involvement. In-orbit construction began in 1998 and is currently the largest orbiting structure ever built and will continue to grow until completion in 2011. The ISS has been continuously manned since November 2000 and will continue to be so for the station's planned lifespan of 17 years. Positioned in low Earth orbit, approximately 350 kilometers in altitude, and traveling at a speed of 27,700 kilometers per hour, the ISS now represents man's permanent presence in space and is expected to be replaced by the time of its demise to maintain this uninterrupted presence. The first component of the station was the Russian Zarya. A direct development from the Mir program, it might have flown with Mir if the station had been saved. Launched aboard a Proton rocket, 20th November 1998, this module provided electrical power, storage, propulsion and guidance for the station during its early assembly. The second piece of the puzzle, Unity, was lifted to orbit aboard the Space Shuttle Endeavour a month later. The Unity module was a node module connecting the Russian and American parts of the station together and providing fixing points for future external trusses and berthing locations for other planned US modules. The third and most critical module arrived July 2000 aboard a Proton rocket. The Zvezda unit was the station's service module, providing the main living quarters for a crew. This large unit also provided environmental systems, guidance control and docking facilities for Soyuz, Progress and other unmanned vehicles. The station was now able to support a crew, and a Soyuz spacecraft lifts Expedition 1 to the station. The three-man crew consisted of astronaut Bill Shepard as commander, with Russian cosmonauts Yuri Gidzenko and Sergei Krikalev. They would remain aboard for 136 days until relieved by the second expedition crew. The shuttle returned with the first of two truss elements, forming the base of the integrated truss structure. Expedition 2 crew was commanded by cosmonaut Yuri Uzachev, along with astronauts James Voss and Susan Helms. Their stay was longer, at 147 days. Six months later, Atlantis delivered the Destiny module to orbit. This would be the primary research facility for general experiments. Destiny also contained an optically perfect window, the largest ever flown at 51 centimeters. Destiny would also provide additional mounting points for the station's integrated truss structure. Atlantis returned 6 months later to attach the Quest module. Quest was the primary airlock for the station, providing an equipment section to house US and Russian Orlan spacesuits and EMU equipment. The other section, the crew lock, was to allow astronauts and cosmonauts access to the outside of the station. A Canadarm was installed soon after, allowing for improved module manipulation and general construction work. Only 2 months later, the Pirs docking node arrived, providing additional docking facilities for Soyuz and Progress spacecraft. It also provided additional room for Russian Orlan suits and EVA equipment.
10, 9, 8, 7. We have a go for main engine start. 5, 3, 2, 1. We have booster ignition and lift.
January 16th, 2003. STS-107 and Space Shuttle Columbia take off on the 113th shuttle mission with a crew of 7. They spend over 15 days in orbit, with Space Hab in the cargo bay. Unbeknown to astronauts, the craft had been damaged by falling debris on takeoff. Tragically, she does not survive the fiery re-entry to Earth. NASA loses her second space shuttle and crew of 7. Major construction work on the space station is halted for 6 years.
3, 2, 1, and liftoff of Space Shuttle Atlantis to assemble the framework for the science laboratories of tomorrow.
July 2005 marked the return to space of the space shuttles. However, the fleet was grounded a short time as more launch debris issues were discovered. It wasn't until Atlantis flight STS-115 in September 2006 that construction operations on the station recommenced. Atlantis brought with it the second set of solar arrays to help power the station as new modules are attached. The second node module was flown aboard Discovery in October 2007. This unit contains 6 berthing points for other modules and the PMA-2 docking adapter for the shuttle. Harmony also provided additional power and data handling capability. The European Space Agency's module was dubbed Columbus and was launched aboard Atlantis February 2008. A research facility, it is designed to accommodate several sciences, including biology, biomedical research, and fluid physics. Exterior attachments mounted on the Columbus allow for power and data connection to exposed experiments. Future attachments will include the study of quantum physics and cosmology. Weighing 10,300 kilograms, 7 meters long and 4.5 meters in diameter, the Columbus is the largest single contribution by the ESA to the station. The module cost 1.4 billion euros to develop and put into orbit. The Japanese contribution to the station is also quite substantial, with their Kibo experiment module laboratory. It is the largest single ISS module, consisting of 2 major components: the Experiment Logistics Module, or ELM, and the larger PM, or Pressurized Module. The PM is the core of the laboratory to which the ELM is attached. This laboratory can carry out research into space medicine, biology, Earth observation, materials production, biotechnology, and communications research. The external palette allows for experiment packages' direct exposure to space and is managed with its own manipulator arm, the JEM RMS. At this time, the station's construction is at 81%. Living space aboard is nearing 1,000 cubic meters. A full-time crew of 3 will shortly be doubled. The station has been in orbit for 11 years and orbits Earth every 91.5 minutes. Currently, the station is 73 meters long with 10 pressurized modules, and the solar array is 102 meters wide. Soon the Tranquility module will be attached. It will provide additional life support, adding berthing points and a windowed cupola. Recently, the crew commander of Expedition 18, astronaut Mike Fink, conducted an impromptu tour of the amenities of the space station.
Okay, here we are at the very front end of the International Space Station. This is the forward end of Node 2, and this is right behind this hatch is the PMA, pressurized mating adapter, to which the space shuttle docks whenever the next space shuttle comes. We will stop at the Kibo module here, the Japanese pressurized module, and the Japanese logistics platform. We'll stop back there in a second. We'll take a look in the Columbus module, pride of the European Space Agency, and our pride too. This is the SIBO rack, which is for cell biology. And then we have a fluid rack, Urutai. Let's take a quick look out the window before it gets dark outside. We're going around the world every 90 minutes, so we get to see a lot of sunrises and sunsets. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful out there. So this is looking out the port side of the space station, and we're actually also on the front side, so front port side of the space station. And okay, so now fly with me. We're going to go to the Columbus module. Here we are in the Columbus module. You can see it's also spacious. It's also cluttered because it's a great place to store things or temporarily send back to Node 2. We'll take a quick look what else we have here. We have my work area. It's a little bit cluttered right now, but this is kind of my desk. It doesn't sit out horizontally, but it has everything I need on it. No, Yuri's been busy unloading the Progress. We just finished an EVA, so things here in the functional cargo block are very functional right now and very cargo-y. So you can see things are just really, really full here in the FGB. As we leave the FGB here and go into the docking compartment. Docking compartment is another one of those vertical looks, and it's kind of a misnomer. It's not just docking compartment, but it's also a airlock. So Yuri and I went out in these two spacesuits a few weeks ago and went to open space and had a spacewalk. Okay, we're gonna take a look outside. And this is the hatch that I opened up and went outside for a spacewalk. And we're looking aft of the space station. There's a ladder, some solar panels. We're looking at the service module, Zarya, Zvezda. And looking at our beautiful planet Earth. Let's see if we can get a nice little view here of Earth. A little small treat, because no tour of the space station would be complete without it. This is our eating area. There's our table. And we're just getting ready for lunch. There's our water dispenser right there, Russian style. And our controller for the water dispenser. There's Yuri's room off to the side. You can see he has a sleeping bag right there hanging on the wall. And a computer right here so he can call on the telephone, write email, and read books. So and relax in the evenings a little bit, because we have long days up here. This is a surprise visit that you guys are paying on us today. So things aren't cleaned up, but they're real. This is exactly how we work and live in space. And that'll wrap up the tour. This is the International Space Station. A very good example of what human beings can do when we work closely together.
The robot arm is a work platform to...
Tranquility will be the last of the US modules to be attached to the ISS.
Wing
It will house an advanced life support system to recycle water and generate oxygen for breathing. Tranquility will also provide 4 more attachment locations for pressurized modules or spacecraft and a permanent berth for the station's cupola. Of course, the ISS is not just a large engineering platform, it is a scientific research laboratory. A laboratory with unique capabilities not possible to replicate on Earth.
Well, the gee-whiz thing is the zero gravity. Having a long-term laboratory with zero gravity is very unique, and I think it's one that I hope that we will reap the benefits from in the future from a scientific perspective in a much more active way.
The space station makes us think about systems and operations in a different way. For example, Don Pettit did some Saturday morning science activities where he took essentially a paper clip and he was going to put a soap film on it and then make a soap bubble and then look at that in space. Well, he made the paper clip and then dipped it in some water, and it turned out it actually made a thicker film than a soap film bubble, but it made a thin film bubble just like it would with soap on it, but it didn't require soap because it was zero gravity. So then he took that water bubble kind of thing, and then he put some salt in it from his lunch kit, and then grew some thin film or thick film crystals in 2D. He then shared that with some of his physics professors down on the ground, and all of a sudden they started thinking about, well, we can do some pretty clever things in space without gravity. So again, he triggered that portion of the imagination we don't often think about.
The completion of the ISS will include the cupola observation module for the crew to operate robotic operations and for Earth observation. Also, the MLM, or multi-purpose laboratory module, will be the Russians' main research facility aboard the ISS. It will study microgravity. The module will also contain additional storage facility, a crew rest area, and additional backup attitude control for the station. Several pressurized modules, though, have been cancelled, including the centrifuge accommodation module, which would have provided some artificial gravity and a centralized sleeping facility. Also cancelled are several Russian research modules. Also in development was the CRV, or Crew Return Vehicle. A small lifting body, the X-38 was to be an autonomous crew return vehicle for emergencies. The program was cancelled in 2002. One program not scrapped, however, was the ESA's ATV, or Autonomous Transfer Vehicle. The ISS requires regular cargo transfer. The ATV will be an unmanned autonomous cargo delivery system scheduled to arrive every 17 months with 7.7 tons of cargo. Although unmanned, it will be able to dock independently of remote control.
What is unique about Jules Verne, the first ATV, is the fact that it does an automatic rendezvous in a fully autonomous manner, as opposed to Progress or Soyuz, which are the only other space vehicles, Russians, to do automatic rendezvous, but where the vehicle needs cooperation of the station. In the case of ATV, it recognizes by itself where to go.
The first vehicle was dubbed Jules Verne and successfully docked with the station, proving its autonomous abilities. It will not only be able to transfer cargo and supplies, but also provide propulsion to the station and lift its orbit when necessary. One current operation that will soon be halted is the tourist trade. With the crew upgrade at the station from 3 to 6 permanent residents, there will be no more spare seats aboard the Soyuz spacecraft. These had been filled by a company called Space Adventures that would fill the empty seats with paying customers. There have been 6 tourists all up, each paying the tidy sum of $25 million US for the privilege. For the money, they received a ride up and back aboard a Soyuz space vehicle, plus food and board, with a view from 7 to 26 days, depending on flight schedules. They had to go through extensive training to qualify for the flight, but still they were restricted in their movements due to the sensitive scientific work being carried out in some modules. With this avenue of tourism now closed, it will be up to other more commercial ventures like Virgin Galactica to provide the obvious need for space tourism. The orbiting laboratory is the beginning of the permanent human habitation of space, and soon the wider solar system. It will be the base to develop new technologies and techniques to live in the harsh environment of space. The next generation spacecraft will be assembled in orbit for the long-haul missions to Mars and other planets. The ISS will be the stopping-off point for man's return to the Moon in the next decade and the manned journey to Mars soon after. As with all space programs, there are scientific and technological spin-offs that will benefit man at home. New methods of recycling our waste product, new ways to generate electricity or improve the efficiency of existing technologies, new ways to manage our carbon emissions. New materials and processes that cannot be manufactured on Earth hold great promise for advances in communications technology. Biological and medical science can gain as well with the production of new medicines and the growth of research specimens in zero gravity. With the close observation of Earth and ongoing program, it is now more important than ever to watch and learn how the planetary systems function and how rapid changes are occurring. Observation of the Sun from orbit can help us understand the processes of stars and bring us closer to harnessing fusion power. The International Space Station is a turning point in both cooperation and human advancement for our quest into space.
Three,